Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Meha Bharadwaj and this is Game On. This is where you get the latest from the world of sports. We've got a lot of football action lined up for you as well. There were some big matches last night in the Premier League, but we've got to begin with the Border Gavaskar Trophy and we've got to start with the pink ball test. Yes, it's finally been revealed. Rohit Sharma will bat in the middle order in Adelaide. On the eve of the pink ball test against Australia in Adelaide, Captain Rohit Sharma has confirmed that Kl Rahul will open with Yashasvi Jaiswal in Adelaide. Addressing the media, Rohit said, and I quote, "How I came to the decision of batting down the order is clearly we want results. We want success, and those two guys at the top, just looking at this one test match, they batted brilliantly. I was at home with my newborn in my arms and I was watching how KL batted. It was brilliant to watch. I felt that there is no need to change that now. Maybe in the future things will be different, I don't know. So based on what has happened and what Kl Rahul has shown outside of India, he probably deserves that place at this point in time. It is something that has brought us success in the first test. You have that one big partnership with Jaiswal on the other side, and you know it probably won us the test match. When you come here in a place like Perth and you get 500 runs or so, it is such a massive tick in the box. I don't see why we need to change that. What I saw from the outside looked brilliant and there was no need to change anything. It was pretty simple for me personally, not easy, but for the team it made a lot of sense. The 37-year-old was made to open in 2019 as the World Test Championship came into existence. Since then, he has only batted at the top of the order. In the last 5 years, batting only as an opener, Rohit Sharma has scored over 2,600 runs at an average of 44, including 9 centuries and 5 half-centuries. His move up the order after spending 27 test matches batting at various positions in the middle order saw India win many home series as well as a few famous wins in England. But this year, Rohit's form has dipped. He managed 2 centuries during India's 4-1 win over England at home. But in 5 tests against Bangladesh and New Zealand, he made just 133 runs at an average of 13. Rohit has crossed 50 once in 6 innings. The series in that series and finished with 93 runs. His average of 15.16 was the worst of his test career in a series where he played at least 3 matches. Kl Rahul, he did the job very well in Rohit's absence in Perth at the top of the order. Rahul and Jaiswal, they forged a crucial second innings stand, a record 201-run partnership that helped India set up a 295-run win over the hosts. Rohit was also asked about the spin duo of Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, who missed out on the opening test. Rohit said they will be integral to the remainder of the series. He said, and I quote, "I wasn't there personally to break the news to Ashwin and Jadeja that they won't be playing at Perth. The management went with the best team they thought that suited that pitch. These two will play a role in the rest of the series. They've been massive to India's record in the past. We shall look at the pitches and decide." Now, when India were dismissed for their total of 36 in Adelaide, I'm sure you remember, in 2020, R. Ashwin, he was the pick of the bowlers for India, taking 5 wickets in the match. And Adelaide is a place he likes to bowl, so there is a possibility that Rohit Sharma might look at Ravichandran Ashwin in place of Washington's Sundar. But we'll have to wait and watch out for that one. Meanwhile, the pressure will be on Australian skipper Pat Cummins going into the second test after a morale-crushing loss in the first test in Perth. Even when India were bowled out for 150 in the first innings in Perth, it was Josh Hazlewood who did the damage with the ball. And now, in his absence due to injury, the onus will be on the skipper to provide crucial breakthroughs with the new ball. Pat Cummins has confirmed that Scott Boland, he will make his long-awaited return to Test cricket this week, picked for the day-night contest against India in Adelaide. He also slammed certain commentators for sparking fire in the Australia dressing room using Josh Hazlewood. Commentators including Adam Gilchrist and Sunil Gavaskar, they had picked up on Josh Hazlewood's comments on day 3 of the Perth Test match, where he said that he'd actually bashed the Australian batting lineup for their poor show at the Optus Stadium in the opening game. He in fact said that, it's the batsmen. The questions need to be asked of the batsmen and not the bowlers, why they weren't able to do their job. Listen into, in fact, what Pat Cummins had to say on the eve of the second test.
Yeah, look, the team's great. Some of the commentators got that 100% wrong. So team's great. We've prepared like we always do, get around each other. It's a great feeling around the team. We don't make too much of it. I think any test match there's pressure. When you're down, there's that, a little bit more, especially when you're at home. But we've been in similar situations, whether it's, World Cups or other series where, you're in must-win kind of situations. We're not quite there yet, but we love playing here. We love playing Australia. We know we weren't at our best last week. Got a few things to work on. This week's been great. Everyone's really focused on kind of ahead and excited for the challenge of the next 4 test matches. But everyone's got a lot of personal pride, professional pride. So, there's pressure on you anytime you play, even just from that, let alone the scoreboard being down 1-0. When, things don't go right, there's enough commentators that will support you, but also some that will, of course, try and create some headlines. And it doesn't really, we try not to take too much notice of it. We just go about our things. We concentrate on, as I said, trying to play our own way, trying to give ourselves the best chance of winning games and try not to get too caught up in anything else.
Okay, with that, time for us to slip into a short break. But on the other side, a lot of football news coming up. Arsenal beat Manchester United. It's their first loss under their new coach, Ruben Amorim. That and more on the other side, so stay with us.
If it's a cancer, then what?
It's very distressing.
Anyone can have cancer.
Mentality है कि ये बीमारी मुझे नहीं हो सकती.
There's a thing called cancer is right inside me.
सबसे पहले जो होता है ना, डर जो होता है कि now it's the end of the world.
My life went upside down.
Stigma associated with it, which is very scary.
In our country, more than 14 lakh people get diagnosed with cancer every year. Out of that, more than 9 lakhs die every year because of cancer.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Welcome back. Arsenal's set-piece inspired victory over Manchester United on Wednesday showed the Gunners' ability to score goals in different ways and their sheer will to win after a difficult spell. This is what their boss has spoken about. Mikel Arteta, Jurrien Timber and William Saliba both scored from corners in a 2-0 win, which was Arsenal's 4th on the bounce in all competitions following a draw and back-to-back defeats before the international break. Even with first-choice centre-back Gabriel out injured, Arsenal still posed a constant threat from corners and could have scored more than those 2 goals they managed from a succession of dangerous set pieces. Arteta, who briefly chuckled after being asked yet another question about their proficiency from dead balls, said this element of Arsenal's game was about being a more complete team. He said, and I quote, "We want to be very dangerous and very effective from every angle and every phase of play, and we work on all of that." Today, we could have scored from open play like we did against West Ham, against Sporting. So the team really has that belief that from every single angle, we have the mentality to cause threat to the opponent and to try to score. Arsenal's victory also came as leaders Liverpool dropped 2 points in a draw at Newcastle United, meaning Arsenal cut the gap to 7 points to the top. Arteta insisted he did not allow the changing score in Liverpool's match to affect his approach to Arsenal's game, but said his team's response to setbacks earlier in the season showed a positive mentality. He said, "The will to win is there. We tried our best to do that. It's true that we went through a lot in that period with the schedule and the position that we played, a lot of things, and you have to react. It's about trying to do it next. Today, now we've won 4 in a row. It doesn't matter. We have to go to Fulham and be better than them." And Premier League leaders Liverpool had their advantage cut to 7 points as Fabian Schär's late equaliser earned Newcastle United a thrilling 3-all draw at St James's Park on Wednesday. An inspired Newcastle led twice, but Mohamed Salah's brace looked like sealing the victory for Arne Slot's side, only for a sliding Schär to punish a rare misjudgment by Liverpool keeper Kl Rahul in the 90th minute. Until Schär's late invention, the night was once again all about the unstoppable Mo Salah, who has now scored and assisted in 37 Premier League games in his career. That's a new record. The Egyptian guided substitute Trent Alexander-Arnold's pass in the 68th minute after Anthony Gordon had restored Newcastle's lead from Alexander Isak's pass. Salah then struck the crossbar with a wonderfully improvised effort, but was not to be denied as he produced a silky turn in the area to fire a shot past Nick Pope in the 83rd minute. The 32-year-old has now scored in 7 successive Premier League games and moved ahead of Manchester City's Erling Haaland at the top of this season's charts with 13 goals. Slot was understandably disappointed to drop 2 points so late, although he did admit that his side were lucky to still be in the game at halftime after being dominated by Newcastle. Liverpool head into the weekend's Merseyside derby on 35 points from 41 games, with Chelsea and Arsenal on 28. Newcastle are in the 10th position with 20 points. Newcastle's high tempo was too much for the visitors in the first half, and they thoroughly deserved the lead given to them by Isak's spectacular shot from the edge of the area. Manchester City finally ended a 7-game winless run by drubbing Premier League rivals Nottingham Forest 3-0 last night. With the win, City also moved back into the top 4 and within 9 points of league leaders Liverpool, who played out the 3-all draw. Like I was saying, against Newcastle, Kevin De Bruyne, he set up City's first goal for Bernardo Silva to score as early as the 8th minute. Bruyne then consolidated the lead 23 minutes later with Jeremy Doku rounding off a much-needed victory for the Premier League defending champions, who had lost 6 of their last 7 matches. Premier League defending champions started the match 11 points behind leaders Liverpool. However, De Bruyne's return to the starting lineup for the first time in nearly 3 months helped resume normal service at the Etihad Stadium. Pep Guardiola, he had to shoot down suggestions of a rift with De Bruyne on the eve of the game after betting him back into action slowly with a series of substitute appearances. The 33-year-old showed what City have been missing as he rolled back the years and could well have had more than just 1 goal. After Sunday's 2-0 defeat at Liverpool, Pep Guardiola went into the home game with 4 changes, also bringing in Josko Guardiola, Doku and Jack Grealish. Guardiola had claimed before the match that Ederson remained his number 1 goalkeeper, but the Brazilian was again benched in favour of Stefan Ortega. City had spectacularly collapsed from 3-0 up to draw 3-all against Feyenoord in the Champions League 8 days ago. So not a bad night for City, and they're back to winning ways. Now, moving on. Hamad Al-Balawi, he's the head of Saudi Arabia's 2034 FIFA World Cup bid. He has stated that the country has made significant progress in human rights while aiming to attract more fans than ever to the 48-team showpiece event. Saudi Arabia is the sole bidder for the 2034 World Cup, with FIFA set to vote on it next week amid concerns about the country's human rights record. Al-Balawi said the strides in human rights, especially in labor laws, are part of Saudi Arabia's commitment to transfer its social and economic landscape under Vision 2030. Amnesty International and the Sports Rights Alliance have last month said that FIFA must halt the process to pick Saudi Arabia as host for the 2034 tournament unless major human rights reforms are announced before the vote. Al-Balawi said World Cup will be held in a safe and a family-friendly environment.
I think, Ian, there's been 12 World Cups in Europe, 5 World Cups in South America. There's been a World Cup in Africa and only 2 in Asia. I think this is a region that is very much hungry for more, to do more in football. And Saudi Arabia is at the start, at the very center, the epicenter of all of this. The passion we have for the game, but also the love we have for the game. It's a different proposition. What Saudi Arabia is today is a different baseline to any other country. We're very much proud of how far we've come since the launch of the Vision 2016. We have so much to give. It's a young population. Over 60% of the population are under 30. The energy here is unreal. The passion for football here has so much history. The league is going to new levels. I think this will be a true celebration of the most remarkable transformation story.
Well, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, they are not having any of it. They have reiterated calls for FIFA to halt the process to decide the 2034 World Cup hosts amid concerns about sole bidder Saudi Arabia's human rights record. Amnesty International's head of labor rights and sport, Steve Cockburn, he argued the procedure to decide the 2034 hosts has been a stitch up long in the making. He said the bidding process has basically been a sham from start to finish. It has been an empty process that really has been there to serve a predetermined outcome.
Well, for me, it's a pleasure.
Based on 2 years of research, over 150 interviews with current and former migrant workers and their families, Human Rights Watch has found in our report released today that migrant workers are facing widespread abuses in Saudi Arabia, some of which may amount to situations of forced labor. These abuses are occurring across employment sectors, across geographic regions, and including at high-profile so-called giga projects like NEOM, that are funded by or linked to Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, the Public Investment Fund.
Saudi Arabia did not come close to meeting FIFA's own human rights requirements through the bidding process. It didn't identify the risks. It didn't show how it would address them, and didn't show how it would host a World Cup that would not be tarnished by exploitation, by discrimination, and by repression. And I maybe just add to that and say that it's not just the flaws in the 2034 process. We see similar flaws for the process for the 2030 World Cup as well, in how weak some of the human rights strategies were for Morocco, Portugal, and Spain.
Artificial intelligence is allowing amateur tennis players to compare their technique to any of the world's best players in detail and to find out what they have to do to up their game. The technology developed by Norwegian startup Sports AI uses machine learning and biometric technology to enhance coaching and give athletes worldwide instant real-time feedback. The company's platform, currently just available to businesses, analyzes video captured on mobile phones, on-court mounted cameras or from direct broadcast feeds, comparing an athlete's technique with thousands of other players, including the world's best, and delivers instant, objective and actionable feedback to improve their performance. At the moment, the company is focused on racket sports, but they say the technology can be applied to any performance sport. The technology has applications beyond improving coaching, and the company is now partnering with manufacturers to offer automated equipment recommendations tailored to a player's style and skill level. It could also allow broadcasters to compare techniques of tennis players and their style over time.
I've definitely played a lot of sport in my life, and what I saw was that coaching, analysis and commentary on sports technique is highly subjective, expensive, and unscalable. If you're watching Wimbledon on TV, there's a lot of ball tracking and data and stats coming in to engage audiences. But when it comes to technique analysis, you're totally reliant on the commentator's own subjective opinion. And that's something now with the advancements in AI that we can change. We can really make this objective and scalable and based on data. You're really focused on technique, so body movement, how you can change your body movement to improve your game when it comes to sports. That's really a game changer for us. I think until now, to actually track technique in sports, you've had to have wearables, so sensors in your body or sensors on a tennis racket or a golf club. And now with the advancements in computer vision, we can use every pixel on the video to be like a sensor in your body and to make the comparisons without the need for a wearable or any sensors physically to be on the player.
That's right. So from figuring out how to prevent injuries to figuring out fitness regime, now you can actually improve your performance on court with AI. What next when it comes to AI and the world of sports? That's an interesting topic, but that's also for another day because we're completely out of time. That's it then on this edition of Game On. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.